Turns out that not only do Kwesi Adafo-Mensah and I share the same thought process on taking a flyer on Jaren Hall, but we also share an understanding on the quarterback position as a whole. First off, they're not giving Kirk Cousins another contract extension, the Vikings front office. They're looking ahead already. With Kirk, what you see is what you get. Going to see Morbius a second time doesn't make it a better movie than when you saw it the first. Secondly, throughout this whole pre-draft process, I said countless times that if you are going to trade up, give up the loot for a quarterback. I did eventually come around on CJ Stroud as a settlement, but with full conviction, the one player you absolutely do it for is Bryce Young, not Anthony Richardson, not Will Levis. And after yesterday's show, the notification came through on my phone with my immediate reaction being a big-ass smile. According to Tom Pelissero via the Pat McAfee show, the Vikings in the draft, they were very interested in trading up for one player and one player only, saying, quote, "They were making calls about moving up very high in the draft. My understanding is that was for one player, and that was for Bryce Young, who ended up going number one. And so there went any possibility for Minnesota to get him. They knew he wasn't going to be a Minnesota Viking, so the focus really turned toward getting another weapon for the offense in the draft." Now, why is this significant? The Vikings, ready to move on from Kirk, they said to themselves, if we're going to be aggressive here, we're going to do it for the best prospect in the draft. All or nothing, that's it. Obviously, you're not going to trade up to the first pick. Carolina, they already gave up a king's ransom to do that. And even if they were to have taken CJ Stroud instead at pick 2, chances are the Texans, they take Bryce Young. But here's where it gets interesting. Young went first overall, and they didn't settle. They didn't say to themselves, well, I guess we'll trade up for Anthony Richardson. The focus then turned towards getting another weapon for the offense in the draft. What does this mean now? You tried to go for the gold if you're the Vikings front office, only the opportunity never presented itself. Tom Pelissero revealed your hand. You get another crack at it next year. You all laughed at me. Mocked me even, saying, well, that's not realistic, Randy. But all is forgiven now. Join us on the Caleb Williams to Minnesota campaign while there's still time. It's happening. They're only going after the best. And all it takes is for the first pick to be in the hands of a team that already believes that they have their young franchise quarterback. The Vikings are going after Caleb Williams. I stand by that until it doesn't happen. So Bryce Young goes. Let's add as many pieces to the roster as we can. Take a flyer on Jaren Hall. No risk. And if he turns out to be nothing more than a backup, okay, fine. Go all in next year. This is the way. They were ready to go after the best prospect, Bryce Young. They will do it in 2024, the best prospect being Caleb Williams. And now, comments time! Purple Punch 420 says, Rieger will lose his job to Malik Knowles. Yeah, I completely forgot that Rieger was even on the team. There was the idea that maybe he just needed a fresh start from Philadelphia. Okay, go somewhere else. And I remember all season long, people swore up and down this could be Deebo Samuel 2.0. I said, I don't know about that. But as a return man, 4 fumbles last year, that's ridiculous. So whether it's Malik Knowles or KJ Osborne as the punt return guy, you can't even afford to cut him. Obviously, they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, but you can't even afford to cut him pre or post June 1st because either way, you're going to eat dead cap. So as wild as it sounds, you're better off keeping him on the roster, taking up another spot, even though he doesn't deserve to be on the roster at all. Poop Caboose says, Addison versus KJ for wide receiver 2 should be interesting. I sure as hell hope not. First off, you took Addison at 23. You wouldn't do that unless you believed in KJ Osborne in the first place. You're not going to take a wide receiver 3 at pick 23 in the first round. Secondly, I know that KJ Osborne is a fan favorite, and Adam Thielen recently spoke on him saying, actually, Osborne could be a wide receiver 1 in this league. No, he can't. Not even a wide receiver 2. I say he's a very good, very solid to very good wide receiver 3. That's it. This should not be a battle at all. Jordan Addison is your automatic wide receiver 2. And last comment is by Charlie Christensen. I think there's a lot more roster spots open for debate. Going to be some surprise cuts. Going to be some surprise starters. Undrafted free agent class is way too good. Yeah, so for yesterday's video talking about training camp battles, I was focused on starting positions, but for depth purposes, like you mentioned, yeah, there's going to be some battles. After the RB1 job, for example, running backs 2 through 3 and 4, you can shuffle it whatever direction you want to. On the defensive side of the ball, even outside linebacker, after your presumed starters of Davenport and Hunter, Zadarius Smith doesn't want to be here. I don't know why this is still a thing. Go ahead and trade him. Daniil Hunter, even for that matter, just to get a leg up for the Caleb Williams campaign to Minnesota, damn it. But after your presumed starters, can I see a situation of, say, Andre Carter II versus DJ Wonnum? Sure. Surprise cuts, I just don't see any happening this year, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Surprise cuts to where you say, whoa, I did not see that happening. Just because on the defensive side of the ball, especially, you're already so thin. Jordan Hicks, for example, any other year, yeah, go ahead and cut him. But after Hicks, you don't really have Ivan Pace Jr., Troy Dye. You don't really have any other players that you can feel confident about, at least I can feel confident about, that can step up and say, okay, you can start opposite of Brian Asamoah, a second-year player. I just don't see any happening, but we'll see.